Hi, in this video today, I am going to be talking about the Picture Exchange Communication System, or often known as PECS, and how this communication system has been used to help children and youth with autism develop a system for communicating with others, such as teachers, parents, and peers across multiple environments, such as home, school, and in the community. So, PECS was initially developed in 1985 at the Delaware Autistic Program by Bondi and Frost, and it is an alternative communication system and since has demonstrated in research literature to promote speech development and production. So, PECS falls into the category of augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC systems, and is considered an aided technique. It is also selection based. AAC systems are then included into the larger grouping of systems and methods that are used to help individuals who do not have typical verbal skills to communicate with others. So we know PECS is another type of AAC system, and it's designed to teach children with limited functional communication skills to initiate communication exchanges and interactions with a social context. So originally the developers of PECS talked about how PECS is a behaviorally based intervention, and it teaches the learner to use visual graphic symbols to be able to communicate with others. So one might ask, why would you want to use PECS? Well, we know that persons with autism, one of their core characteristics is sometimes difficulty developing and using verbal speech to communicate with others. So they may not use words the way most typical developing children do. And we know the impairment of communication skill is a core feature of autism spectrum disorders. So children with ASD may have limited eye contact, vocalizations of any type, gestures when they communicate with others. So sometimes children and youth with ASD learned to use inappropriate means to communicate to be able to gain attentions of others and obtain desired objects or outcomes. So this AAC system, such as PECS, can be highly an effective tool in helping to decrease these challenging behaviors and increase the use of appropriate functional communication. So who can use it and where can PECS be used? Well, PECS can be used across a variety of age ranges, starting in preschool to help individuals with autism communicate with others. There are some studies out there that talk about using PECS with older individuals with autism or adults. That's still kind of an area where there's limited research and where future research could be conducted. So who can use PECS? Well, professionals, parents, and caregivers may be able to use PECS procedures. It is recommended, though, that persons interested in using PECS with a person with autism needs to receive professional training. So training can be provided for those through the Pyramid Educational Consultants Corporation. Also, your speech language pathologist can be trained in PECS as well as other professionals. PECS, the great thing about PECS is that it can be implemented anywhere where communication is desired or needed, and across a variety of home, school, and community settings. Basically, some things you're going to want to consider about PECS is, when you're thinking about it, is we know that it's effective in being able to increase communication initiations of individuals with autism. It also has the potential to increase vocalizations of individuals with autism, so those are two advantages, and that PECS can be used across settings with a variety of communication partners. You do want to make sure, though, effectively implementation of PECS, having preparation of the materials, training materials, having a variety of reinforcers to help with the actual communication acts. And you also want to make sure that you allow a variety of opportunities for the communication exchanges and monitor the learner's progress across the training and for generalization. So what is PECS? Well, learners are taught to hand a picture or a graphic symbol of a desired item to a communicative partner in exchange for the actual item. So PECS is an actual system of communication, and there's 6 different phases of PECS instruction, each building on the last. So this is one possible disadvantage of the use of PECS would be how long these training sessions are going to last. So the first training session is teaching the physical assisted exchange. So this is kind of an example of a variety of different pictures that you can use with PECS. This is an actual sentence strip with Velcro where that is used in some of the trainings during communication exchanges with partners. The second phase is expanding spontaneity. Then there's spontaneous discrimination of pictures, building sentence structure, where you're going to be using a sentence strip, responding to what do you want, and different commenting, initiating responses to a question, and seeing later spontaneous speech occurring. So the one thing that's unique about PECS as well is you're physically handing a symbol depicting the desired item, such as we've got pictures of a drink. So this is a graphic representation. You can also have an actual photo, such as this Elmo, which I assume is exactly what Bird Elmo looks like. With your communicative partner. Also, after learners understand that PECS can be used to make requests, demands, it can be extended to other communicative functions, such as labeling question into other contexts. So here I actually have kind of a PECS reference binder. You can see this binder is fairly large, which would be a disadvantage. It can be bulky, and obviously this binder would not be appropriate to use with a very young learner because of the weight. So you're going to want to think about the size of the binder, how many pages you have. Another disadvantage is they are categorized in 2 different pages. Oh, this could be very overwhelming for either a person to use that's assisting with the training or the actual individual who is working with PECS. This would be one area where you'd want to think about kind of organizing and kind of modifying this into less pictures for that person. Other disadvantages of PECS is going to include, let me look here just at my notes, is going to be the fact that the learner is going to need to carry this binder with them at all times, and it may also be very consuming for staff members and family members to be able to portray more complex words when you're thinking about prepositions. There's some in here that are talking about emotions and verbs, but more of the pictures in this binder are actual items such as a shape sorter or scissors or slides. You also want to think about if the pictures are being lost or destroyed, you're going to have a way to create multiple pictures, have a variety of pictures in different settings, even maybe multiple binders, one at school, one for home, and think about how that's going to be transported. Not all learners may be able to learn PECS easily, so they might need some kind of PECS modifications. That's something that kind of future research could touch on. And there has been a limited number of studies on PECS generalization across settings and persons with autism, and some of those studies are still inconclusive. So overall, with using PECS as an AAC, one's going to want to consider the individual needs of that child or individual, and if PECS would be appealing for that person with autism. You know, that person with autism might require, it requires few motor movements on the part of the speaker. So if a student is struggling with their fine gross motor skills, PECS might be appropriate for them since they're just having to pull a picture off and hand that to their communication partner, or being able to form sentences on the strips. PECS is relatively low cost. It's also portable, so that makes it very suitable to use in a variety of settings. Another reason that it would be an advantage of PECS is the system can be taught with relative quickness for both the instructor and the participants, and it doesn't require months of training. It can also provide children with a communication system. I think I mentioned this earlier, it's selection based. So they are selecting what items they're wanting to have and for their requests. And it's also both clear and easy to use, and it's able to motivate the child to communicate. The PECS pictures are easier to learn than if using manual sign language because they're representing two-dimensional representation, and they're more easily understood by other members in the community who may not be trained on manual sign language. Also, the listener doesn't necessarily have to be familiar with PECS to understand it due to the fact that the pictures are kind of representing within itself of the title. So I think I've covered a lot of different information about PECS, advantages, disadvantages, who can use it, why you would want to use PECS, and a little bit about what it is. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you learned some information from it. Thanks.